For decades, the global technology market operated as a unified, borderless enterprise. The assumption was simple: the best product would naturally win out, regardless of where it was designed or manufactured. That assumption is being replaced by sovereign statecraft. In official policy documents, the United States has stated that its objective is unquestioned and unchallenged global technological dominance. The White House AI Action Plan pairs offensive domestic innovation with defensive economic statecraft. It uses semiconductor export controls to actively degrade China's capacity to compete, while exporting full-stack AI packages to allies to create durable technological dependency. This strategy is meeting two other distinct visions. China's New Generation AI Development Plan seeks to make the country the world's primary innovation center by 2030, while the EU uses its AI Act to assert its position as a global regulatory superpower. These forces are fracturing the global digital order. What was once a single tech stack is splitting into competing and increasingly incompatible technological ecosystems. The sharpest front of this fracture is at the lowest layer of the stack, the hardware. In October 2022, the U.S. implemented sweeping export controls designed to sever China's access to high-end semiconductor technology. These controls target the manufacturing equipment needed to produce anything below 14 nanometers. It is a decisive shift from denying specific military applications to impeding an entire sector of a rival's economy. To sustain this, the U.S. formed the Chip 4 Alliance, linking American design, Dutch lithography, Japanese materials, and Asian manufacturing. But the alliance faces internal friction. South Korean firms depend on the Chinese market, caught between their security ally and their largest commercial buyer. These restrictions have also accelerated Chinese self-reliance. Facing crippling sanctions, Huawei developed a 7-nanometer chip using existing technology, while models like DeepSeek V3 demonstrated frontier-level performance at a fraction of the traditional training cost. The result is that pursuing independence from a rival has forced deeper interdependence with allies, while restrictions on hardware have spurred the very domestic breakthroughs they were intended to prevent. Moving up the stack to the infrastructure layer, cloud data centers are no longer just logistical backrooms. The U.S. dominates global compute through AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, and it is beginning to treat cloud access as a tool of statecraft. This dominance has fueled data sovereignty movements worldwide. The U.S. Cloud Act gives American law enforcement access to data held by U.S. firms, regardless of its physical location, intensifying concerns over data localization. This has created a market for what amounts to sovereignty as a service, cloud providers that sell the feeling of sovereign control while deepening actual dependency on foreign-owned infrastructure. At the software layer, there is an internal clash over open-source AI. Meta argues releasing models ensures the American ecosystem remains the global standard. But national security experts counter that open-sourcing models hands competitors billions in free R&D, neutralizing semiconductor export controls. These two pillars of American strategy, championing a global innovation ecosystem or pursuing technological containment, cannot be done simultaneously. The competition will be won or lost in the nations of the Global South, which represent the majority of the world's population. China has been systematic here, using its digital Silk Road to provide affordable turnkey AI solutions, smart city technology, surveillance systems, and digital government platforms, all bundled with financing. The U.S. approach has been perceived as less coherent, focusing more on restricting access to rivals than on offering viable technological alternatives. But these nations are not passive. Organizations like the African Union and Mercosur are pooling diplomatic capital to co-develop their own standards, build regional compute hubs, and negotiate as blocs to avoid digital colonialism. Strategy now requires accounting for competing blocs, divergent standards, and weaponized supply chains. The fiction of a single, unified global technology market is over. For those building in the AI space, the tools, platforms, and standards we adopt are no longer neutral technical choices. They are explicit geopolitical alignments. The fracture is here.